I would call it in 10 years, did you get 3-4 titles? If you got the bulk of the 10 years, if you got the most titles within that time frame, to me, that's a dynasty.
That works.
Right? Because you at this point, you got the most titles in that decade. So if you can get the most titles in that decade, you're a dynasty. You know, maybe a couple back-to-backs. It don't need to be a three-peat. There's only been 2 teams really do that. 3 teams to do that. So that I'm not counting that. But similar, like almost like the Golden State Warriors, but they had a little bit more of a gap. What was it? 2015, then 2017, 2018. That was like 3 titles. Then he won again in 2022. Was it 2022?
Golden State won 2022. Yep.
All right, so that's 4 titles in 10 years.
Yeah.
So I would consider that more of a dynasty. They got 4 titles out of that 10-year span. Yeah. And then the finals trips. So if you're able to get there over and over and over, and you're able to win 3, 4, 5 championships, to me, that's a dynasty.
If you're watching here on YouTube, make sure you go ahead, click that subscribe, that like, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept up to date whenever we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast. We should come right up. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you give us a like, leave us a 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. Make sure you write it down, put it in your phone, make a note of it. The Format Podcast is live Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. And finally, if you're really and truly enjoying the content we're delivering you, make sure you hit that join button. There's going to be exclusive content here just for you. This I thought was interesting, and I don't know if you guys saw on the thumbnail for the show, LeBron and I actually agree on something. And yeah.
Oh,
and
shit. World ending. Oh, damn. You know what? Everybody prepare. Pack your bags, baby. We're going to Mars. Yep. Bruce is agreeing with LeBron. Yep, it's time to go. The what? Yep, this is over. Yep. Go ahead and get
y'all see this?
Shit. Get the hell out of here.
Y'all see this?
Yeah, we got to go.
As if I'm not an objective, rational sports mind.
Pack your bags, get in the bunker, or get on the spaceship. We out of here. Peace. Got my wallet, got my stuff.
What does he need a wallet on Mars for, y'all?
Hell if I know. I need a wallet to get some gas to fill up the damn rocket.
Okay. All right, y'all. Man, Transformer Pool. All right, so here's the deal, right? Obviously, Mind the Game Pod, this is where we're getting the bulk of our LeBron stuff from as of late, because he hasn't, he took an earlier than usual exit from the playoffs, right? Normally we're used to seeing LeBron play very late into the playoff season. This year it didn't quite work out that way, so be it. Always happy when the Lakers lose.
Continue, Bruce. Like
sorry.
Harry said, continue, Bruce.
No, but so he's been having some interesting things to say on the Mind the Game podcast, or Game the Mind. Shout out Mel and Man Down Sports. But this I thought was really neat. He and Steve Nash were having some discussion about NBA awards and maybe some tweaking that could be done to make the awards process better and work better. And I liked what he had to say. And so I have the clip here, and I wanted to play some of that for you. And we were just going to talk about it, because this is actually something that I have thought for years now. And I think it was very good. And I love what he had to say. Yes.
It's something that we spoke about. So I was actually curious, because I heard it this morning. I was listening to it this morning.
Okay.
And when I saw what he said, I'm like, that's very similar to a conversation that we had like a couple months ago. I'm like,
we did.
I wonder what Bruce is going to say. So as soon as I saw the thumbnail, I'm like, okay, so Bruce agrees with it. All right.
Yeah, I do. Absolutely. No, he great. So let's go ahead and let's hear what he had to say, and we'll come back and we'll discuss it some more.
Here's what I'm talking about: Defensive Player of the Year. Do we need a big and a small? Because traditionally the bigs have dominated, right?
Yeah.
You got that rim protector back in my day. You got the odd guard, but usually it was like the bigs. It felt like. Do you feel like there should be a big, like a big and a perimeter?
So I actually like that question from Steve Nash first. I thought that was very good. Yeah, I thought it was a great question, and I've never thought about it that way because if I remember correctly, it's Gary Payton, Michael Jordan, and Marcus Smart. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Are the three small guards, and obviously Jordan's not a small guard, but the three like smaller players who have won Defensive Player of the Year, right? Mm-hmm. Other than that, who have we seen? Mount Mutombo, I think, won it 4 times. Ben Wallace won it 4 times. Rudy Gobert won it 4 times. Dream won it twice. D-Rob won it twice, I think. Yeah. Dwight Howard won it 3 times. So we're seeing, to Steve Nash's point, the dominant bigs who are protecting the rim and sending out everything that's coming in. Guys that allegedly couldn't play today, guys that are switching the pick and roll and still getting back and defending the rim at a high level, guys who are dominant on the defensive and offensive glass, right? Guys who are just doing so much to help their teams. So normally those are bigs, right? And maybe there is something to be said for the question that Steve Nash posed about maybe there needs to be some sort of supplementary award recognizing the smaller players like the guards who are also elite defenders. Because to your point, like you mentioned, Marcus Smart was a lockdown guy. Obviously, GP was a lockdown guy. Michael Jordan was, arguably one of the greatest guard defenders ever. You got your Mookie Blaylocks, your Spud Webbs, your who's the mini cat from Baltimore? I always forget his name. Muggsy. Right? There's some all-time elite small guys who were incredible defenders who unfortunately got overlooked just because of their size, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe he did hear our conversation, Mr. Realist. Maybe he did. But let's see. Gregory Champion, what's up, man? If an award that goes traditionally to big men, when a guard wins it, it'll stand out even more rather than separating them. Yeah, I agree with that, but I think the problem is you got a lot of guys, like we were just saying, who are elite guys. Defenders at the guard position who aren't getting that recognition because they're rarely going to have an opportunity to win it, right? So it is a point, but we can look at that both ways.
And now it's going to get much harder, right? Because these bigs are getting taller. Victor Wembanyama 7'3", and he's averaging 3 blocks a game. So if he starts playing full seasons, he could potentially win the next 4 to 5 Defensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. Right.
Gobert won 4 of them, right?
So like Victor Wembanyama could easily win 5 to 6 of the next 10 years, and now your guard, like all your guards and below, they're like, we ain't 7'3", bro. Like, we're not gonna be able to get the same amount of blocks and be able to compete with that. But I can show you the same level of effort on the back court, using the front court, right? And if front court, that's his territory,
right? And if we're real too, a lot of times the guard defenders, if you have an elite rim protector behind you, the elite guard defenders will steer their guy towards that rim defender. Right.
Correct.
So the rim defender is getting help. Yes, Tony Allen probably should have won one. Absolutely, Nino. Yeah. But let's go back and hear LeBron's response to what Steve Nash had to say there.
I don't know if it should be a big and a perimeter, but I do think the landscape of the voting and how we clarify the Defensive Player of the Year is determined. Because right now, like if you can't guard on the perimeter, you can't play.
Right.
But if you're a big and you can guard and you can't guard bigs, you can actually still play because there's not much. It's not the 90s anymore, where guys are posting up a lot.
That's right.
The game is more on the perimeter. So, I think that
that's true.
Just the clarity of what the Defensive Player Award actually means.
Mm-hmm. So like some sort of criteria.
Some type of criteria.
Right. Yeah, say that again.
We're never going to get criteria.
No, because
and we're going to get into that in a moment.
Yes.
It's never the same.
No.
The reason why people are winning MVPs, and especially in the NFL as well, like while they're winning MVPs, there's no criteria. They're not giving us the criteria. They're leaving it up to our minds and our eyes to have the conversations about, okay, well, who do we think the best? And I think that's what I think they're using that as fuel to drive more conversation about their sport and about their league. Yeah. So I can see the reason why they're never going to give us a criteria. But I see his point where, like, if you give us a criteria, then maybe we could, have more of a conversation on what I need to do to be the Defensive Player of the Year, because maybe I want it.
Right.
And I'm trying to get it, but I can't get it if I don't know what I'm trying to do. right? So
right. If I don't know what metrics I have to meet, that will,
to get it.
That. Yeah. No, definitely. And I think you're 100% right. He did say though that he doesn't necessarily agree with having an award for, guard defenders and big defenders. But I also didn't like, this is one part I didn't quite agree with when he's like, yo, for the bigs nowadays, it's less important. You got to be able to defend on the perimeter. I like the part where he says you got to defend on the perimeter because that's just the way the game is played now. Yeah. But I also didn't like him trying to, I don't know if he was just talking about how he saw the game or if he was taking a shot at the 90s per se. He's like, well, this is not the 90s where you just got to defend post-up guys. But that's not even the case, though. You still think about what the analytics say, right? A dunk or a layup or a three, right? So guys are still coming to the rim. So why are we acting like having rim protecting defensive bigs is not still key?
I think that's more so because of the godly amount of threes being taken nowadays. Boston Celtics, for example, shooting 53s a game, right? So I need to be more better of a perimeter defender than versus worried about anybody on the interior, right? So I think he's trying to give more of a bashing at. I mean, it's a lot of threes being taken.
Absolutely.
Like, this ain't the 90s where everything in the 90s you played inside out.
Yes. No
Here
question.
you're playing outside in. These folks on fast breaks ain't going for the lane. They stopping at the 3-point line. So it's like, damn, man. How am I supposed to defend the interior when I'm too focused on the perimeter and everybody's shooting 40 plus threes a game?
Great point.
Did think about how like the NFL does Offensive Player of the Year and MVP.
This is more than what
I
we
thought
were
that
talking
could
about.
possibly be something in our league where you give a Offensive Player of the Year, and an MVP. Right.
Now, you're right. We did talk about this, and I think it would be fantastic because that way you could recognize a guy like a Jokic who had a historically great season this past season, right? Averaged a triple-double. We've never seen a center do that. Basically leads his team pretty much in everything. He's the straw that stirs the drink. Cool. Nobody's knocking that. But also doesn't defend, what have you. Okay, cool. But the MVP, in my estimation, the guy who should have been MVP won it. SGA, right? Because we saw, and obviously, it's hard to get the playoffs out of your mind. But even to that point, led the league in scoring, very good distributor, very good defender, led his team to 68 wins, clearly was the key and the catalyst. I think that he was the MVP. But to that point, we don't know what the MVP is. We don't know what the MVP is, right? Is it the best
Steve
player?
Nash is a part of that.
He's not helping. Right.
He's a part of the reason why we don't know what we're voting for or what y'all are voting for. Like,
right. Absolutely. So
the best player on the best team, it was like that for some years. Like, is it the guy who shoots the most? Is it that guy? Right?
Is it the guy who has the historical statistical season? Is it that guy?
The Westbrooks.
The Jokic.
Jokic just had a monumental thing for a big, and he didn't get MVP. But you gave Russ the MVP for being one of the monumental guys to average a triple-double again since Oscar Robertson. Right?
Oscar Robertson, yeah.
So it's like, what are we doing here? Is it narrative based? Is it stat based? Is it about being on the best team and being the best player? It changed so much over the last 20, 30 years that it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Because Steve Nash won it. I get it. Best player on the best. It was more best player, best team. I got it. The man was averaging like 17 points a game.
Yeah.
Averaging 10 assists a game? Like
10, 11 assists, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
He was definitely the engine for the Suns, though.
He was the engine.
Yeah.
Correct. But it's like,
excuse
me. You would want a criteria when it comes to something like that. So, again, something we're never going to get. We can cry for it all we want, but we're never going to get it.
Yeah.
But,
and I think part of that, too, if we're fair, and that's no disrespect to the civilians here, but we're military people. And in the military, there is a criteria for everything, right?
Everything.
Right. If I'm
there's an evaluation
award, right? Then whoever's putting me in for the award writes it up with what I did to earn said award, right? Correct. Like there's criteria for if I'm trying to go to a particular school, I have to have a certain PT score. I have to do this. I have to do. There's criteria, but
Yeah,
it's very different. But let's continue to listen to LeBron and Steve Nash here.
Not saying we should do it, but it was something that was like pretty cool, like in the NFL, how they do that. They do the offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year.
That's a great point.
MVP.
We have defense.
Yeah.
We don't have offense. We have defense and MVP.
Right. We have, so maybe something.
Because there's no real criteria about MVP. It's a statement, most valuable player.
Yeah.
Well, what is the criteria? Because I think we usually associate it in some capacity with team success, which is a good thing. But is it said in and is it good that it's sort of this nebulous kind of thing? We don't exactly know, but there's a narrative sometimes that forms, or there's a popular opinion, or a populace that develops. Like maybe that's just the way it should be.
Right. Yeah, because it changes. It's like, okay, so is it the best player? Is it the player that had the best season with his team? Maybe that's offensive player of the year, or is it just simply the best player in the league? Like he statistically was the best player of the year league, no matter, obviously you're not going to have a guy in there that's like, the team didn't come close to making the playoffs.
Right.
Well, obviously, because if that's the case, then he's not the best player, but it's not the most valuable then. But if it's, I don't know. It just changes. It changes too much.
I agree. Your offensive player of the year is interesting. I think that one's interesting. And I haven't really thought about it a lot, but that is interesting because maybe that helps direct this thing. Because you could be on a poor team, have an unbelievable offensive year, you could still win offensive player of the year.
Now
and
that
vice
could
versa,
work.
you could maybe not have the best year in the league, but you were the most valuable in taking your team to a new height.
Right.
So there's all sorts of like a prism here to kind of decide. So that would maybe take some of that down with an offensive player of the year.
So this is interesting. Gregory Champion, you read my mind because I was about to say this. Is he saying this because he hasn't won one in over a decade? And I think that's a very interesting point because when he was winning them consistently, I think he's got 4 now. When he was winning them, we weren't hearing anything about criteria or anything needs to be changed or we need this or we need that. And so it's always interesting to me how when he's not necessarily in the mix the way he wants to be, his viewpoint on things starts shifting. Am I reaching on that, Transformer, or do you see anything there? I'm trying to be objective.
I'm gonna be 50-50 with you. You could see that, but what do a lot of players do once their careers are winding down? Once the twilight is hit at the end of their careers, what do you see a lot of players do? Their perspectives change.
Okay.
They look at things a little differently. Like, okay, you see Shaq, the way he's going back and forth and, resetting the bar and reuniting, differences between a lot of players. You're hearing Dwight, like everybody at the end of their career, they're looking at something a little different. Like, while I was playing, when I was in my prime, I didn't care about none of that shit. I'll be the best player, right? But as you're winding down and you take everything for granted, you look at everything from afar in a distance as you're getting prepared to leave, you're like, you start thinking a little bit different, right?
Right.
He's been considered one of the best players in the last 2 decades.
Okay.
Adding a couple of MVPs, yay, nay, but I don't think in this moment that's what he's gunning for, because if that's the case, he would have started doing that like 5-6 years ago. You know what I mean? Because if he wants to argue, I would give me a year. His last year in Cleveland, right? I mean, the last year in Cleveland. That's probably when I would have probably started making this conversation, because he took a team that had no Kyrie Irving, no Kevin Love to the finals, and he finished second in MVP voting that year. And everybody we were wondering why. Like, damn, he just took a team that had nobody all the way to the finals, right? So I think he would have started this conversation then. We're so far removed from that. And he's not been considered. Nobody has him as an MVP over the last 7 to 8 years. Now that gives me a reason why it's a little different now, because he hasn't been mentioned as an MVP in the last 8 years because he hasn't played like one. He hasn't played like he's the best player in the league. And maybe 8 years is too far, man. I'll maybe give him 5 or 6, right? Since he's been a Laker, pretty much, he hasn't been that MVP. So I think if that would have been the case on him saying that he wanted more MVPs, then he would have started that conversation a long time ago about this.
Okay.
So I think, to me, I would be even with you. It's probably a little bit of that, but it's also, I see a lot, like all of these greats and these superstars, they always say something different or think a lot different than when they were in their prime. In their prime, I'm dominant. I'm this, I'm that. Jordan was a big piece of this. He cared about them championships. He cared about them wholeheartedly. He cared about being the best, being considered the greatest of all time. But then when he retired and he sat back and he was like, I mean, I got 6 titles, but Bill, what does that separate me from Bill Russell? He has 11. Like, does that, like, what does that make? I didn't play against those guys. So how can I definitively say I'm the greatest player of all time? Because I got 6, I'm 6-0 in the finals. I can't disrespect Bill and what he did. I can't disrespect anybody else that, has a certain run or something great like that. So his whole perspective changed. He's like, while he was playing, Jordan didn't want to hear none of that. If Jordan, if 27-year-old Jordan heard what 40-something-year-old Jordan said, they would have gotten to a heated debate. Like, bro, what? I'm following that, bro. Like, I'm the greatest of all time, right? Yeah. But as he's older, he's sitting back like, you know what I mean? Like, what does that really prove? I didn't play against Bill. I didn't play against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in his prime, and Magic in his prime, and Bird in their. I didn't have that stint, right? So I think a little bit of that. I can see it going both ways. A little bit like, damn, I should have won more MVPs, and truthfully, he should have, right? So should have Kobe and a lot of other players that played. But I think it's also him looking at his career in a different perspective.
Yeah, no doubt.
The NBA in a different perspective.
No doubt. Overall, though, I'll say I agree probably with 95% of what LeBron had to say here. I loved it. This, as you mentioned, this is something that you and I have discussed on this show before, and I think it's a great idea and something the NBA really needs to take into consideration. Definitely.
Yeah. No, man, it'll be dope, man. I mean, because you want to see. It definitely needs to be another award because, like I said, we don't understand what we are voting for. Not we, because we're not voting, but we don't understand what you guys are voting for. Some years it's narrative based because, truth be honest, the year Russell Westbrook won it, I mean, yeah, he averaged a triple-double, but am I considering him the best player in the league?
Yeah, they were like the 6th seed.
I wasn't. Like, I was like, but I get it. What he did was so monumental.
Yeah,
that's why you give it to him.
You haven't seen that in what, 50 years?
You haven't seen it in 50 years. This is 2016, 2017. So who we got that year? We got Kevin Durant. We got LeBron still in it. Like, they're still battling it out in the finals at this point. You know what I mean? And we're talking about Russell Westbrook, who probably did he make it past the first round? Maybe so, maybe not.
I don't know if he did. I don't know if he did.
You know what I mean? But we're saying, but that was a narrative-based championship. Jokic now just did what Russell Westbrook did as a big.
Yeah.
Why didn't that get the same narrative? Right? Why did that get the same, like, okay, this was a monumental thing.
Right.
Does that overshadow what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did? Right. So,
yeah, I think part of it is because, we did see it before. Like, so all of a sudden it's not as big a deal now, right? Yeah, exactly. And that's tough because, you all know I'm not the best Jokic guy, but I mean, it was incredible from the center position, averaging triple-double. I will never look past the fact that he doesn't defend, so be it. But I mean, it's still incredible what he was able to do. But all right, let's go ahead and open. We'll take 2 calls on this. Let's open these lines up and see what we got.
And what another thing I'll add, we do see, and voters fatigue is real.
It is.
It's super real. And I think we're starting to get into that with Jokic. Jokic has 3 MVPs in the last 5 years. So what he did, like, what more can you do to stay MVP? LeBron James had 4 MVPs in 5 years. They're like, okay, well, what more can you do? Like, we need to give it to somebody else. Tim Duncan and those guys, like, so many MVPs you're getting back to back. They're like, okay, we get it. We're just gonna call you the best player, but we're gonna have to give the MVP to somebody else because this is getting exhausting, right? Michael Jordan, same difference. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Edward, what's going on, brother?
Oh man, what's going on, fellas? Man, I get it, man. It's 2 sides of the coin, but man, y'all guys the show was doing great, fantastic. We had a lot of good, quick takes, good topics before we got to this one. It's like, as soon as we get to talk about LeBron, here comes the Oh, he's saying this now, blah, blah, blah. I get it, man. I get it. It's just mad crazy.
Oh, you talking about he's talking about the chat. I'm pretty sure he's not talking about you.
It's just mad crazy, y'all. I'm sorry.
Okay. Anyway. Talking about the chat.
So because I'm like, I swore I said I agreed
no,
with him.
I had your back, bro. I had your back, bro. I got you.
It's appreciated, big bro. I mean, little bro. So
bigger,
it's
but little.
Mad crazy. Hey, but still though, man. Hey, short. Hey, you a hothead, but man, we ain't gonna talk about that. I'm glad you changed. So anyway, Bruce, let me ask you this. And I agree with everything when y'all said, especially with the defensive wise. Let's just go to these two guys in this position. You know how you are, Bruce, when it comes to the game of basketball with your knowledge, and it's so good. I'm not glazing. I'm just keeping the buck.
Appreciate that, brother.
So, if we take these two guys, if they had the same accolades, same accomplishments, same achievement,
okay,
who would you take, the big ticket or Mr. Fundamental?
Oh man, just if I had to choose one.
Damn.
Yeah, and I'm gonna ask. And my follow-up question would be why.
Okay.
Big ticket of Mr. Fundamental.
Oh.
Come on, Bruce, bro. It shouldn't be that hard.
It is.
If you gave him the same accurate, you said we're giving him.
No, hard to left after that. My fault.
Right. You know what? I'm gonna go with the fundamental.
Why?
Because I believe that his mentality and the fact that he's always calm and always has the same demeanor doesn't ever allow him to get out of character and doesn't ever allow him to get out of his game. And so I think that stability allows him to be the same player every game. I think that's my, I think so. I think that's why. Transformer, what do you think, man? I don't know.
Oh, man.
I think I got to go with Timmy. Not by a lot.
Yeah, not by a lot. I think I'll lean towards the ticket. I think I'll lean towards big ticket, man. Tim is so great, right? And our minds are set on the 5 rings, right? That's where our minds are typically going. Like, okay, Tim got 5 rings. Big ticket got 1.
Keep it even. Yeah, I mean, don't they both got Defensive Player of the Year award?
Yeah. No,
Timmy got. I don't think Timmy don't got one. Kevin Garnett got one. Yeah, Timmy don't got one.
Even. Let's keep it even, y'all.
Okay.
Let's not look at the 5 chips. Let's just.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah.
But I know my brother is. But I got to go with K, the ticket, man. I mean, it was his game. It was his swag. I mean, I know even though I've seen those guys used to go at it, they go at it, and he could never get Timmy off his game. You know, I heard his trash talk was trash when he say, "Ooh, gotcha. Nice try.
Nice try. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
That was wacky.
But that pissed me off so bad.
But KP said that used to drive him crazy though.
Yeah.
So it was working, right?
It's like, don't talk to me like that.
Yeah, not everybody
Maybe
got crazy trash talk. You heard what they said about Dream when KG said Dream told him, "I'm killing him with lateral movement."
Yeah.
So I mean, everybody's different, man. And listen, I'm not mad at you taking KG. I'm just I would take Timmy by a little bit.
Yeah. Because we're looking at the game, right? Because if you want to look at the team,
let's look at the game.
The teams is different, right?
Of course.
Tim is so great because of the system, right? The Greg Popovich system and what they were able to put around him. It also made Timmy that more elite because we're going to be blind about it winning. We're going to be blind about it winning for sure.
And that's why I want to take it out.
When you try to isolate the player, the style, I'm like, man, I'll definitely take the ticket, bro. Ticket. I mean, he could shoot mid range. He could defend. I mean, obviously he could defend Defensive Player of the Year. He's a lunatic, bro. The man was a lunatic.
Yeah.
The man was literally banging his head against freaking before the game. Who tries to give themselves a concussion before the game?
Screaming MFer.
Motherfucker. Taking the ball and just
like he definitely got himself into a space. And no disrespect to any of that. I'm not saying, listen, I love Ticket. He brought us a chip, man. We needed it so badly when he
desperately.
Yes. So I got all the love in the world for KG. I'm just saying I don't think there's anything wrong with saying I go with Timmy.
Absolutely not.
A little bit.
It's definitely a hair between the two. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, well, for me, I get it. I mean, hey, look, man, Timmy, hey, he used that backboard. People act like the backboard is corny. Hey,
Look, man,
he did good with that
kiss the
backboard.
glass.
Man.
Kiss the glass
Like,
king.
you know what I'm saying? Hey, he was using that junk good.
Hey,
man.
about 26,000 points worth.
Hey, the
I
big
thought he
fundamental for a reason.
Yes, sir.
Fundamental moves,
and then
baby.
I really thought he did win a defensive but that's why I wanted to take if they was all even out, man. And
I'm looking dead at it. Only Kevin Garnett won one.
That's right.
I want to look at the player and everything, but I get it's man, Bruce, it was a tough, but man, at the end of the day, I have to go with Ticket KG. But
that's cool.
So and it's just like now let me transfer it over to football. Like I think the quarterback, man, the MVP award, it always go to the quarterback. The last one who won the outside of quarterback was AP.
Mm-hmm.
But man, they need to just make it a quarterback award.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It's exhausting at this point.
Yeah. But to that point, at least they have offensive player of the year. So a running back or someone else can get something. So I'm okay with
like
that.
Saquon could have definitely got it. Like he should have definitely been MVP this year.
He didn't get O'Roy or offensive.
He got offensive player of the year, but I'm saying
Yeah,
MVP.
I got
for
you.
what he's did, like how he changed the team and got to the Super Bowl. Like you'd be like, God damn, he should have got MVP.
Yeah, for sure.
But the reason I'm saying that is like what okay, besides running backs and quarterbacks, who else won an offensive player of the award? I mean, you can't. I want to say
Chase.
What was it, a wide receiver?
Jamar Chase.
He won the Triple Crown. I thought he won the Triple Crown.
Yeah, he won the Triple Crown this year. That's right. Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, I'm just saying, like,
was it the previous year?
I thought it was this year.
I thought it was the previous year.
It was this year.
Was this
last year?
Okay. He won. But is the Triple Crown is an offensive player award, or that's just a regular Triple Crown award? I mean, is that what it is?
No, it's not the offensive player of the year. It's just something that receivers will get if they lead in everything. Every receiver category.
Correct.
Okay, so receivers have their own award.
Well, it's not an award. It's just
because the tight end could technically get it.
Yeah.
So it's not really just a receiver award.
Right. And it's not even an award. It's just something that we put on them for having a great season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the hat trick for hockey. Like, it's not really a thing, but it's like a hat trick. You got it 3 times, right? 3 scores in the game.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like they can't. The reason why they cannot give the awards, the MVP awards to wide receivers, because who's giving them the ball? It's the quarterback. To make it, I mean, you could have made an argument that Tyreek Hill, when he was down in Miami with what he was doing, he should have, got in that conversation. But and just like the offensive lineman, what's my brother? The team 49ers group. What was that? Trent Williams.
Yeah, Trent Williams.
Yeah, Trent Williams. Yeah.
Yeah, for what he's doing, you know what I'm saying? For him to be an offensive guy, what he's doing with that line. So it's different various. So it's a lot going and unpack with it. But yeah, that's all I got, guys. You know what I mean? It was just that I agree with everything what you guys were saying. So that was about it. Of course, I'm keep listening to the show because everybody make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe for my brothers on this show.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that.
All right, y'all. Cool beans, man.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Water.
You be you.
Question, Bruce, don't in college they give positional awards?
Yeah. The best wide receiver in the country wins the Biletnikoff Award.
Yeah.
There's like 3 different quarterback awards. There's was it the Davey O'Brien Golden Arm Award? There's like 3 different quarterback awards.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously the Heisman, you got the Doak Walker for running backs, you got Bronco Nagurski for defensive players, the Thorpe Award for defensive backs. Like it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Collegiately, they get it right. They go for the best player. Like whatever. You the best running, cool. You put up theatrical numbers over this whole season, you're getting an award. Like what's his name? That just Travis Hunter. He's not a quarterback. But boy, you play both sides of the ball and you did it at an elite level.
Yes.
They give it to running backs. They give it to other players. So they get it right. The NFL, is so quarterback driven that they honestly do need to change the award name.
Agreed.